Okay, good. Nice. All right, all these terms, I want you to look. Everybody see this? These are all in the test as multiple choice. So every one of these are multiple choice. Jake, stop.
Who are the muckrakers?
This is for your test. So words 1 through 24, on your test, these will only be multiple choice, so you'll see the section. It'll be the beginning of your test. It'll say multiple choice. And you're going to have to figure out, and just like any multiple choice, and circle the definition of the word, or circle the word for each definition.
Wait, how do you know it's definition?
How do you know what the definition is? How would you study for this? What have we been filling out? They're called, it rhymes with oats. Notes. All of your notes. So that's why it's important to keep track of your notes.
Wait, are these the answers?
No, it's not going to be like in this order. But these are all the things you need to know.
Wait, but what will the question look like?
So multiple choice, they're going to be all the definitions that I've given you that we've gone over in our notes.
Oh, I know. Wait, I don't remember learning about the muckrakers.
Muckrakers, that's the other thing. Everybody has your, what is it called? We're going to do that at the end. But I'll just say you can go ahead and get it out now. So the notes for your Industrial Revolution. Does everybody know what I'm talking about? You went around the room? So go ahead and get those out. I'm going to say that at the beginning. Because we're going to. Yep. I'm going to tell you which ones you need to study. And even if you get a piece of paper, like if you don't know where it is, I'm going to say you can just put a star by it. Yes. Yes. Yep. So your Industrial Revolution notes, you can get those out. So Jake, I want you to get your Industrial Revolution notes. Addison, Industrial Revolution notes. Jake, Industrial Revolution notes.
I don't know where they are.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh. Yes, it is. I'll show you.
What do they look like?
I'll pull it up. Ava, I think you had it.
I looked at my house.
Wait, Elijah, what does it look
All
like?
right, if you don't have it, just put a star, write it down somewhere. I'm just going through the ones that we have.
I put all my packets that we've ever done together in one store at my house. Same as what I did.
All right.
This might be it. No, it's not that. It's not the notes. It's just like a
What is it? Is it a reading? Look at the board, Eliza. That's what it looks like. Okay.
Actually, Alex, we wrote that.
Yeah.
Just get it from partner because I gave it to people.
Yeah.
All right.
Isn't it this too?
Good.
Or is
No,
it
it's just these. Okay, so everybody has a pencil. You're gonna put a star by these words.
C, A, P.
You ready? It's not. It's like very few.
Rotation station.
I don't have that.
Then you need to
It's
get
at
a
my
piece of
house.
paper. You don't have it. You were here.
Go.
Wait, no,
I'm
actually,
turning that in. At my house.
We never turned them in. I would just get notebook paper for now and write the words. But I bet you, Pearson, you know all of these. Yes. All right, the first one. I gave this to you. It's Industrial Revolution. Put a star by it. If you don't have it, I bet you a table partner next to you will have it. Because this is, I pulled it up in class.
I have it.
I don't
It's
have
at
it.
my house. Oh, I wrote the definitions of all
definitions.
Did you? Who doesn't have Industrial Revolution?
I do not.
Okay. At the end, like when y'all are changing class, I can pull it up. Let me see if I can.
Definition.
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 Oh yeah, I found it.
Oh yeah, I have the definition. Definition.
How do you say that?
Definition for it. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, definition. Definition.
Definition. Definition.
Definition.
Oh.
All right. So here's Industrial Revolution if you don't have it. So you need to put a star by Industrial Revolution, labor unions. These are only key terms. You need to put a star by Jake. I want you to get your pencil. It's important. So labor unions, put a star by that because you're going to need to know that for your test. Industrial Revolution. I'll go ahead and start in this definition of Jake because it's for your test. All right. Then you need to have the word progressives. So put a star by progressives. You need to know muckrakers, and we're going to talk about that
We have to turn this in.
at the end. Yes.
What if it's half of it first?
You won't be penalized. All right, and breaker boys, and that's it. Those are all of the words on this whole thing. So let's talk about really quick, what are labor unions? These are in the rotation stations a long time ago. What is a union? Avery?
These were like groups that like joined together to stand against like company owners. Because
Yep.
They were in like they were like their laws to protect the employees.
Yes. So you would have these huge companies, right? You have these big corporations. Yes.
What were Breaker Boys?
I'll tell you in a second.
Oh, I have
So
They were
do you?
they were known for sorting through the coal and removing sticks, rocks.
Yeah, they were young
and other
boys.
impurities.
Yes.
Wait, so it's all those ones that are on the front of the history assessment that you gave us? Are those all gonna be on the test?
Yep.
Okay,
I don't have progressives or I don't know how to say that.
Okay. Progressives. Does anybody have that one?
Yes.
Okay.
And
What is
people
your?
who focused on fixing problems.
Yeah, so you'll hear even a common word today of like, I'm a progressive, I want to bring change. Change isn't bad, but you don't want to go out with also traditions because those held for a long time.
Actually, we're advocating for social and
Wait, there's a thing as progressive Christians like that.
Yes. Yes. But saying it's not bad, it can be. I mean, any side can be too heavy-handed.
Wait.
All right, so you need to know progressives, people wanting social reform and change or advocating social reform and change. Breaker Boys, they were young boys that worked in the coal mines and they separated, what was it, Kaylee?
None for people. Who separated? No.
And this is all you're
Known for
reading.
sorting through the coal, removing sticks, rocks, slate, and other impurities.
Yes. Yep. All right. And muckrakers, who has that one? You have Avery? Okay, what is it?
Muckrakers were the writers who generated much support for social and political change through their investigative reporting.
Yeah, so muckrakers were these journalists that would go undercover, and because there were these corrupt corporations, they would write what was actually happening. They're like, this is bad. People need to know about it.
Is it okay if I put they were writers or they were writers who advocated for reform?
Yeah. And there was somebody named Upton Sinclair. Now, what did he do? It was in the reading a long time ago. Yeah.
He did something. He wrote it was like some book in
Called
like
The
the early
Jungle.
1900s
Yep.
that wanted change.
Yes. So it was this big company. It was a meat packing company. What happens if you're not sanitary with meat?
You die.
You can get disease like salmonella. You can get bacteria. Yes. So he's like, you're handling this meat in bad conditions. You're touching it, then you're touching blood, then you're touching feces, like all of this. And then you're feeding it to the people. Well, that's not right, right? Because you need to do...
You gotta wash your hands.
So he went, correct, so he went undercover and wrote about it to expose why it was so bad. So muckrakers are like journalists who go undercover and expose things so that people know the truth. It's good. I mean, it's a good thing. You need to have people constantly sifting through things.
So undercover journalists.
Yeah, but they would also, what did you put, Avery? Because it's from the
They
writing.
were like, they generated public support for social and political change.
Yeah.
Investigative report.
It helped get things,
And economic. They wanted like change for the
it helped pass bills and acts so that there could be like cleaner sanitary conditions, better working conditions. Like if there are children who were being hired as child labor, right? And then they were being, like hands would be cut off in a machine, or they would get illness, or they would be treated poorly. They would go undercover and write about this. Yeah, Alex, you have a question?
So on the Industrial Revolution,
Yeah.
it says an ERA. What is that?
Era, it's an era, like a time period. So, okay, so make sure on this, because you have, on every other notes, all the key terms on your other notes are on this, except for this one. This has way more key terms than you need. So that's why I went and said put a star by the ones that you only need to study. Okay. Then the other thing is on this history assessment, if you go to the second part where it says part 2, I'm going to explain this. All right. You have number 2. Remember, we did this way back with Reconstruction. You just need to know and understand. On your test, you're going to be putting an arrow. Or no. It'll have letters. Like for example, for each of these small little paragraphs, it's going to have like A, B, C, D, E, F. You need to put the letter in the correct box.
Oh, I thought we were gonna have to write out the entire
No.
chart.
You just read it and need to know who is helping slaves and who was benefiting Confederates. You have a question, Avery? Oh, I got you. Does that make sense? So you're not having to write this whole thing out. You're dragging the correct one.
Wait, so how do you?
So like, for example, I'll pull it up here. So when you've got like this right here, it's gonna be below on your test. So this might be like B, this might be A, C, D. I mean, these are not going to be in the correct order, so maybe this is.
Oh, so we're gonna do like a multiple choice.
You just put the letter in where you think it needs to go. So maybe this is B,
Because it will show what the plans are and then have a letter for them.
A, F, E. Yep. So let's say instead of you're not writing this out, you put B here, or you put D here, or C.
Thank you.
And then C would be, this would be like G, and this would be like H. So you put G and H. Okay. So you don't need to write it out. You just need to know Lincoln's claim for slavery and the Confederates. What? Oh yeah. All right. So remember on your recall quiz, a lot of people missed the Alaska Purchase. So let's talk about that. What happened in the Alaskan Purchase?
Russia was just getting back from a war and they didn't have enough money to keep up for.
Yes.
So
Alden?
they stole it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, and the main thing you want to notice. So Russia was going. They didn't want to go. I want to make sure this is right. They didn't want Great Britain to have this. They also didn't want to go into debt, they already were in debt because they had spent so much on a war. They had just fought the Crimean War. So those are things you want to make sure you know.
Who are they fighting?
Was that for Alaska?
Yeah. No, so Russia originally owned Alaska, right?
Let's go.
Okay, but then had just fought a war, so they were kind of in debt. And then they also didn't want Great Britain to have this land. So they sold it. They made a deal with America, and America was like, great, more land for us.
Wait, who was the war against?
It was called the Crimean War. I don't know who was, I think Great Britain was an enemy, but I don't know who.
I thought Russia bought land from Alaska.
No, so Russia sold Alaska. That's good to know. We're going to say Russia.
Wait, they sold land to Alaska?
Or, I'm
they
sorry,
sold
Alaska
Alaska to USA.
Alaska, because they originally owned Alaska,
Put it back, cause like, I don't know.
to America.
And then the Americans at first were like,
I thought it was like
not like
$72 million
but
or
they
something.
found like precious.
Oh, you don't have it up. Okay, so you
I
need
do, I just kind
Oh, where'd it go?
Found stuff.
Oh, right there. So Jake, this is gonna go
They found
under, okay, right here. So
Was
for
it
number
called
3,
Alaska when they owned it?
what'd you say?
Was it called Alaska when they owned it? Cause
Alaskans speak Russian.
You know, I didn't see a name change, so I'm assuming. That, like, it didn't say it was this and went to that. Yeah, Kaylee?
Wasn't there something about like $72 million or something?
The amount? Yeah, I mean,
Is
you'll need to know. So on your test, this is gonna be a multiple choice. No, yeah, it's a multiple choice
Is
question.
that why Alaska's so close to Russia?
Is that why what?
Is that why
They're not
Alaska's so
even
close
that
to
I
Russia?
don't know if they're are they close?
On the back side of the world.
I think
on
the
back
reason they
side.
sold it, one of the reasons it wasn't within their
Where
territory.
is that?
Alaska? Oh,
Alaska.
this is number 3. So go to part 2.
Is that the only Miss Reed.
Oh yes, sister.
Is that the only answer on the mystery?
No. Yes.
I also read that it was sold because Russia officials worried Alaska settlers would take over, so they bought.
Yes. And another thing is, so the enemy, they didn't want, Russia didn't want,
Britain to take it.
did not want, yeah.
Because that would probably, they would probably said, because you're in debt, we also want,
Is Britain
Alaska.
B-R-I-T-T-A-I?
Yeah. They're like,
No.
since you're
Is it
already,
what?
Yeah.
It's the
I can't remember. Alright.
Yeah.
they would have probably said, since you're in debt, we're just gonna take Alaska from you instead of.
Because Britain was an enemy at the time. So they would rather America have it than Britain. Okay. So labor unions. What does it mean for somebody to go on strike? Yeah.
It means that there was no new luxury cars being made.
Wait, on strike?
It means you're not working.
Strike is when they.
You're lazy. You don't want to get. You want to
they're
get
not
paid
getting-
more.
They're not getting paid enough.
That's
so
what I read.
they
I saw
quit their
it.
job and they make like signs.
Yeah, they and this is
That's happening at Kellogg.
what is
right
in
now.
what do you have in your industrial? Because you got it from
Like
the reading.
Bojangles.
What is in
people
the
do now.
Industrial Revolution notes? Yeah, Alden.
I had no new cars were being made.
When workers from many locations
They
in
didn't have
industries
cars back
strike
then.
together.
Yeah, when workers they stop working.
People do that.
That's happening to Kellogg's right now.
Is it
Uh-huh.
That's happening. That's happening to Bojangles. Like
Yeah.
people stop working.
to
Everybody stopped working. What? Everybody stopped working.
No, but someone had a sign of the tiger.
So, a
across the
strike-
tiger, and it says "I'm greedy" instead of
Oh
"I'm
my
greedy."
god. So a strike, for example, you would be in a company. Let's say originally this wasn't a bad thing. I mean, if you wanted there to be change, right, Alex? You wanted there to be change in a company, you would say, all right, we're not going to work. We're going to make these signs. We're going to walk around to get their attention. And at first they were like, psh, but then it started gaining traction across the globe. Yeah, well, America, but.
Something that's kind of similar. So this strike thing. So a couple months ago, me and my mom went to like a Red Robin, and there was only like one person working there.
Yeah.
And so they had this like big sign out front that says like we're hiring, and like that was like all around the restaurant. And
Yeah.
they were trying to get workers. It's crazy because now I don't know if people are going on strikes or what, but like.
They're not. So the problem with now is not enough people. So because you have these COVID pays.
Yeah, just that.
Oh yeah,
Like,
They're just getting paid, so people aren't working anymore. But that is creating a bigger problem. Yes.
I feel bad for homeless people sometimes when I see them. I'm also like, there's so many jobs out there. Like, this is what my mom thought. She
no,
said,
but they're usually
there's so many jobs that they can go get.
They're usually homeless because like they mentally can't.
It depends. Some, if you offer them a job, like, I'll give you money if you mow my lawn. Like, I had a teacher who said, all right, I will help you out. The guy never came. But it is hard because, like, do they have transportation? Do they? Yeah, Pearson.
So my brother said that Chick-fil-A only has like 15 people on staff,
Yeah, I'm sure.
and like none of them are working.
Oh, I seen them.
Alden.
Once me and my grandma, we just wanted a snack.
Just
We
leaving.
wanted to go to Dairy Queen.
Duh.
I love Dairy Queen.
But it was
I go
closed.
to
It was
Dairy
close.
It was closed because there was no one there. Like,
Oh, yeah, because there aren't enough workers.
Did you hear?
Monday,
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, because they don't have.
Was it on Sunday?
What
If it
is-
was on Sunday, they're probably not open.
At where?
An hour?
Blizzards are so good from Dairy Queen.
Melt closed down.
If you don't like Dairy Queen blizzards, then
All right.
They're so good.
Wait. I gotta go. We gotta move on because I gotta tell you what to study and what not to study. Number 11, you need to put an X through. And number, hold on. There's another one.
number 11.
Number 11 under part 2 of your assessment. There's something I just thought. You put an X, just a crisscross over 11.
crisscross applesauce.
Because we didn't cover that. So Jake, I want to show you because you need to make sure you know this. On 11, right here, you're not studying it. You don't need to have that.
How
Yeah.
was their tension between you and
Melt
the new
closed
settlers?
down.
How what?
Melt closed down.
Melt?
Yeah, they closed down and then they reopened
What's Melt?
because they had
Oh.
enough staff.
I
But they
don't
reopened.
What's
because
Melt?
of the weather.
I
Right.
love milk.
We don't have time. Listen, we gotta move on. All right, so this last one, look at the long answer. Look at the long answer, okay? The first one says, name one issue that was found during the Reconstruction. So remember, what were some issues that originally did come up? What? Yes.
Well, they were using children in factories.
Wait, not Industrial Revolution. I know, it tripped me up too. Reconstruction.
Oh, okay.
Good job, Tom.
Alden?
Well, one.
They're rebuilding the country.
Abraham Lincoln died.
What'd you say?
One, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated.
This is true.
That was an issue.
That was an issue.
Oh,
And
the-
also, yes.
the vice president became president was bad at being president.
Yes. So there were tensions because they're trying to rebuild the country without slavery, right?
Yeah, and then since Abraham Lincoln died, he was like the most advocate for not having slavery.
So it wasn't really successful, okay? So you need to make sure there's also like they would have black codes, right?
Yeah.
So they were like still enslaving people, but they wouldn't just call it slavery. There were a ton of issues. There's also tension between North and the South, right? The South feels like they were wronged. The North feels like they need to have repayment from the South. Okay, so that was one. You need to make sure you understand each of these questions. Number 2, the Industrial Revolution and the Westward Movement. They overlapped in American history. How are these similar? How are these historical eras similar?
Because they are battles.
They both have jobs to do.
This is
and
true.
They're
travel
both
really
real
far.
gory.
Sorry. This is true. There's some pencils back there.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so in the Westward Movement, they're moving and trying to gain what? Land. They want more land. It builds, they're growing, they're expanding. In the Industrial Revolution, they're growing in other things. What are they growing in? It's a development of technology, new machinery. So you see on both hands, America on either side is growing and expanding, right? Which is good, but it also can not be good. What would be the downsides of expanding and growing and accumulating more? Let's look at, think about the Native Americans in the battles. What was the downside of that battle? There's a lot of downsides.
Oh, the what? Which one?
The battle at Little Bighorn.
Well, they wasted men.
Yeah, and it was greedy, right? America just wanted more and more. And then it costed them a lot of men, and it also caused tension with Native Americans.
It'd be really
Wait,
scary
so what
to
are
get
the
killed by
West
a Native
Indians
American.
doing?
Let's remember they're gaining land, they're accumulating land, they're growing,
Just stab you with a stick.
they're trying to expand.
And then the industrial, or wait,
They're
and
in,
the other thing was technology.
yeah, they're growing in technology and machinery. But on both sides, America is booming and the economy is growing. But it also, on the downside, America is becoming more greedy and corrupt because you got these big monopolies that are taking over.
Wait, so then what is the?
So they're
Industrial
coming
Revolution.
right.
What do you say?
What is
Industrial, they're growing in technology and machinery.
Who is America? Or,
Yeah. And the Industrial Revolution. All right. And then number 3, many immigrants had to go under their test when coming to Ellis Island. What was one test that you would deem reasonable and useful? What was one that you might say is foolish and nonsensical? Yes, Kaylee.
So one would be like going to like medical stations or whatever.
Yeah.
'cause if they had diseases or sicknesses.
Yep. That's, yes. And then another one, what would be one that we think, that's probably not necessary?
Waiting in line forever.
That would be a test. There was one
What's that?
test. There was one test,
Mental? Well, actually,
This history test?
not really mental.
oh, maybe all of the tests were worthy. There was one test I was just reading about that wasn't good.
Wait, what?
There was one test that we were just talking about. It was
This test?
the literacy test. Like when we say the literacy test is
Oh.
worthwhile. In some ways, yes. But in other ways, you're like, they're
But
from
they're
another
like that.
country.
Yeah.
So that might not be your best, yeah. So if you had to pick one, you're like, this might not be fair because they're from another country, they write differently, their language is different. So, all right, does everybody have those things? Does anybody have any questions about this test coming up? So on Monday, we're gonna review, yeah, we didn't get the Bible.
Is it English one of the hardest languages to learn?
Yes,
Other than Mandarin.
yes. It
English is
is-
one of the hardest languages to learn.
But
You
Mandarin-
speak it.
No, it's other countries. All right, Ava,
You speak it
these
because
are the definitions.
your parents
So you wanna
raised
make sure
you
you
to
got
hear
this.
them.
All right,
Start learning. But if
anybody have any questions about the test?
if another country
How do we feel? All these are found in your notes. You guys know you'll do just fine. Okay.
Are we going?
We did history for an hour and 25 minutes.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. That was.
It was fun.
We're used to guys can only do
It was
45
fun.
minutes.
We 100% were only supposed to do that for a break.
Hey,
It was fun. It was fun.
mystery.
Yes.
One time, it was during the World War II.
Yeah.
When you know when the Nazis bombed Britain on tea time,
Yeah.
my
Hello.
great family
Yeah.
was having tea time and they bombed. And they had made new bombs
Yeah.
that you couldn't hear them until they got too close.
Can I interview
Oh
everybody?
my.
And
Miss Reeves,
so
can
they
I
died.
interview everyone?
No, Anna, you are always.
Wait, can we end it? Can we end it?
Yeah, you need to end